Or die in the NBA Western Conference playoffs. The Clippers and Rockets going down to the wire, and the Jazz Sonics finale in Seattle. And we'll recap all the action on the bases, 7 o'clock Eastern Time.
And welcome back to the Tour DuPont. The team time trial is over. It's another day now. It's today, and the race has moved on. We're now facing stage 3, 150 miles, taking the riders away from Port Deposit, running close to the borders of Pennsylvania, but staying in Maryland all the way through to Hagerstown, where a big crowd awaits the welcome of the 117 survivors of this race. Let's go to Paul Sherwin.
The Word Perfect team yesterday in the team time trial did everything we expected them to. They dominated all of their rivals. But many people thought they would have at least a 1-minute margin, and the Coors Light team came within 23 seconds. Word Perfect now have the top 4 positions, with Yellow Nidam in the top slot, still in the yellow jersey. I think what's going to happen, though, with the other teams who came quite close to them, like LA Sheriffs, Coors Light and Motorola, they will try and launch attacks along the roads before we get to the mountains. That way they can try and isolate riders like Yellow Nidam and Raul Alcala and launch attacks so that then they can take over the leadership of this race.
America's premier cycling event, the Tour de
Raul Alcala looking mighty. Well, how would you say this? Happy-go-lucky for a man who would appear to be in the hot seat, not only for Team Word Perfect, but for the others as well. Yellow Nidam, though, getting the rub down, befitting the team leader of this event. And, well, we'll see his yellow jersey in a few moments. Right now, it's covered up by team colors.
And the first big long day in the saddle. Mike Engelman here, filling his pockets with food for the long journey. 115 miles, that's a long way.
Engelman anticipating the mountains. That's where he'll be called upon for his team, along with Scott Moniger. Meanwhile, in the front seat, literally and figuratively, of the Motorola van, Lance Armstrong, at his young 21 years of age, looking mighty calm indeed. Malcolm Elliott, the sheriff.
Well, I don't think we want to make play our hand out for everybody to read right off the bat. I think that we've got our strategy in mind. We're going to stick with our strategy.
We're hoping that they'll work really hard, and then we can isolate Raul later and maybe put the hammer down on him.
It comes down to a sprint. We have to be sure our guys bring Malcolm to the last couple corners before Word Perfect brings Eric van der Arden there.
Everybody have to attack to Word Perfect because everybody attacked always leading team. That's normal.
Well, it seems the whole race is against the Word Perfect boys now as this race rolls on. Bicycles and gains prohibited. Well, 1 or 2 bike riders might like to obey that sign today. Then they wouldn't have to ride all this way down to Hagerstown, Brian.
Well, there's no question the other teams are going to be riding against Word Perfect. They're certainly on top of the heap, and when you're playing King of the Mountain, you're trying to knock off the guys on top. And they are individually, Yellow Nidam, Raul Alcala, Eric van der Arden, and Eric Decker, the 4 riders for Word Perfect. They have 5 riders in the top 6 on individual general classification, including the best young rider. That's Eric Decker.
Well, this is the way to watch a bike race. Sit back and enjoy it and let somebody else do the work. Yellow Nidam sitting up there, letting everybody see his bright yellow jersey, the symbol of race leaders of all of the world's most famous races, including, of course, that great race, the Tour de France. Port Deposit has waved goodbye to the riders now as they go out into the country.
It's clear from the profile and in talking to a number of the teams, even the night before the event, that the early part of this race is not going to be significant or selective. And chances are most of them, including the yellow jersey, Yellow Nidam, will just sort of roll along. It's going to look a lot more like a training ride or even a tour than a race in the early part of this one.
It takes time to warm up to the occasion. As we pass over this beautiful dam here, the riders too are enjoying some stunning countryside. At least when you are a long-distance racing cyclist, you do get to see the countryside. Whether you take it in is another matter. Trouble for the race leader.
However, Yellow Nidam can't relax totally. He's having some kind of mechanical problem, it appears, with the shifting mechanism. They're working on it up front there, and his team director has climbed out of the car along with one of the motorcycles, and they're going to get Yellow Nidam back on his bike pretty quickly. And fortunately for him, this is early in the race, so he shouldn't have too much trouble catching the bunch that he can see just ahead.
Yeah, Harry Stevens, the assistant team manager there, pushes him back into the fray. And Yellow Nidam, when he sorts himself out, shouldn't have any difficulty in catching up.
Well, they're apt to send someone back for him, in fact, to make sure that he has no trouble catching up. He appears to have some problems getting his bike going. But now, trenched firmly into the middle of the bunch is the race leader trying to find the back, but here trying to find the front. The first sprint, and it's Teutenberg, the young German, who takes it.
So the race is on, the first sprint is over, and we're heading down towards the finish. Don't go far away, we'll take a break. But don't forget, tennis coverage continues tomorrow here on ESPN with the final of the German Open. Andrei Chesnikov battles Germany's own Michael Stick at 1 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. Beautiful countryside, Brian, early summer, and everybody enjoying themselves, except perhaps some of the riders in the Tour DuPont.
Well, a little work being done out on the road, little work being done beside the road, and Word Perfect not giving away any of their team secrets here today. It's no secret they've got the strongest team in this race. They proved that in the team time trial. Raul Alcalá, though, making it official to those who would ask.
Well, Alcalá, of course, the winner of this race in 1990 when it was known as the Tour du Trump. So the riders enjoying this very nice, but it's not going to continue for too long, Brian. We're down in Westminster now, and this is the first time bonus sprint of the day, and this is serious stuff. And in fact, it's the young German again proving the top sprinter so far in this race out on the open road. Sven Turtenberg, who gets the little time bonus there.
And interestingly enough, the identical same result as the first sprint. Veenstra, the sprint leader, came second, and Mark McCormick of IME third. Now here's Sean Yates and young Lance Armstrong having a chat, and right along in the same group there, Davis Finney having a word with one of the Subaru Montgomery riders. A little inter-team chatting going on as Paul Willerton hears what Davis Finney has to say. They're heading for lunchtime as the feed zone, the first one in this year's Tour DuPont, means it's lunch on the run.
And the riders midway through the long stage today, but of course you don't stop in a multi-day stage race. You grab your food and you get on with the racing under the watchful eye there of the race referee who comes in from Italy.
Lance Armstrong pulling up alongside Jim Akowitz, the veteran team leader of, well, it used to be 7-Eleven, now it's Team Motorola, and he has campaigned with this squad under a variety of different sponsors over the years. A former racer himself, a member of the 1976 Olympic team. He was also a member of the 1975 Pan Am team, one on the road, the other on the track. He's got a radio in which he communicates, usually to Phil Anderson. Anderson's not here, and his replacement was Norman Alvis. Well, guess what? Norman gets to, well, he gets to wear the radio and hear what Jim has to say for the team out on the road.
And times, of course, Brian, it's not good if Jim is telling you to attack and you don't feel like it, but you've got to get on and do the job as a professional. The field rolling along, enjoying the sunshine. Ron Kiefel going through there, wearing the new jersey, having won the most aggressive riders prize yesterday. That's a great jersey, Brian, with a big shark on the front.
It's still a little quiet in the bunch, and still a lot of socializing going on as Nate Reese, who finished third on a stage already this year, talks to Atlik Valsval, the three-time runner-up overall in the race. And of course, Subaru Montgomery trying to get their man on top of the podium this year as the leader. He has always ridden in support of someone else. Now he has 6 guys riding for him.
I remember Nate Reese winning a stage of the Tour of Australia in a banana plantation a couple of years ago. He's come a long way since then.
It's an outstanding all-around rider, good climber, very good sprinter, tireless team worker. And well, here at the back, things are a little quiet as well. The marshals on the side of the road, the BMW motorcycle marshals, warning the riders of a rough railroad track crossing, and they're more than happy to take those warnings and heed them well. These guys know their job too.
Malcolm Elliott reportedly feeling a little bit sick yesterday, but looking fine today as he rolls along at the front of the field. He's one of the key men on the LA Sheriff Chevrolet team, and we're looking for a stage win. He hasn't had his chance yet. Maybe it'll come today.
At this point in the race, the Word Perfect riders begin moving to the front. There had been kind of a universal truce, but now they start moving up to the front because it's time to punch in and go to work. The third and final sprint of the day, it's Andy Bishop on top of Catoctin Mountain this time. So Andy Bishop will wear the Mountain Leaders jersey after winning that third category climb. It's not a serious one.
Oh, that was a great ride by Andy Bishop. He said he was feeling good today. Now he's the first leader of the King of the Mountains competition in this event this year. That's tremendous. So the race rolls on. The next time you see us, we'll be in the streets of Hagerstown. Join us soon. And welcome back. We're on the closing stages now, and we're in Hagerstown. This long day is almost over, and the riders now on a free-for-all as they try to pull clear.
Jim Copeland of the LA Sheriffs, along with Roy Nickman, have made an escape as the approach And with the man they are chasing, however, is Sean Yates. These three worked together until Yates surprised and attacked him away. Manuel Fernandez of the Spanish Class Hagerstown team, well, he's had some problems. He's down on the deck.
He's missed a corner, Brian, and in fact 1 or 2 riders have fallen at the back of the field, but the man who's trying to take the stage is the British champion. We saw him in the team time trial earlier, powerhousing his Motorola team along, and now he's out in front of the race with 2 riders trying to hunt him down. The race is really on.
The rest of the pack also driven, of course, by Word Perfect, trying to minimize the amount of time that Yates, Nickman, and Copeland are out in front. The situation is very simple. If Sean Yates wins the stage and gets more than 45 seconds ahead of Yellenidem, he will be the new race leader. Copeland and Nickman doing what they can, and here comes the pack, and Yellenidem tucked safely in there with his Word Perfect teammates. It's going to be a very close finish at the line. Yates may be able to hold on. Look at this, coming up the hill. Yates, Copeland, and Nickman trying to stay away from the hungry charging field.
Sean Yates, I told you they called him the animal. He hasn't won a race since he took that white jersey of British champion a year ago. This is going to be a sweet victory in the United States for him, his first ever in the Tour DuPont. One final look over his shoulder. Last year it was his teammate Phil Anderson winning, and now he's done it for Phil, who pulled out of this race days before the start with pneumonia. And second place there to Roy Nickman. Third will be Jim Copeland. They too held off the big field. What a finish that was. There's the situation today. Sean Yates wins for Motorola and Great Britain. Roy Nickman is second for Coors Light USA. Jim Copeland for Chevrolet LA Sheriffs makes it home in third place. The 3 stars over those last few miles of today's stage.
And now for tomorrow, team looks like you have very good control. You're on the front and Raul is in the back. Any difference for tomorrow?
No, we had no problems, and tomorrow it's another day, and I'm riding now 3 days in the yellow jersey, and when I'm losing tomorrow, I'm not disappointed. I'm satisfied now, and I hope that Raul is finished the race as first rider. That's all.
Yellow in yellow, it seems quite the right thing.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it too. But I'm not holding the jersey, that's true. But I'm satisfied.
Congratulations.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
So the overall situation after stage 3, Nidam leads this race by just 10 seconds from his teammate Raul Alcala and 26 seconds from Eric van der Arden, another Word Perfect rider. The yellow jersey again going on the shoulders of Yellenidem. His father would be proud of him, a world champion back in 1961. Don't forget too, the Tour DuPont continues. Follow it with us tomorrow as we move on to Hershey in Pennsylvania, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time. We continue through the rest of these stages, heading out towards the big finish on May 17 as we go through these stages. The 1993 Tour DuPont has been brought to you by Saturn, a different kind of company, a different kind of car, by US Air. Every time you fly, everything we do, US Air begins with you. And by DuPont, sponsor of the Tour DuPont, America's premier cycling events. So the Tour DuPont has been won today by a British rider, a Dutchman yesterday. Who will it be tomorrow? Find out when you join us again. For Paul Sherwin, Brian Drebber, I'm Phil Liggett. Goodbye. The boys in blue and white who came to win the Tour DuPont, and so far they haven't put a foot out of step. Eric van der Arden, the record holder of stage wins here, he's in the action too. The Word Perfect team have counted every move thus far. Yellenidem wears the race leader's yellow jersey. In the team time trial, he gained even more time. And on the main roads too, he's still winning. So far, it's their race. ESPN, the Total Sports Network, presents the 1993 Tour DuPont, America's premier cycling event. After Delaware and Maryland, the Tour DuPont now heads into its third state in just 4 days of racing in this 11-day marathon, and the sun still shines. Hi everybody, I'm Phil Liggett with Brian Drebber. Today we are in Hershey, and of course we're standing